procedure.
Oh, with the like cities.
In general, when they do the mice experiment, things turn out bad every time.
Like, what are they doing?
You don't know about the mice experiment?
I probably know. Which one?
It's the city. The city they built like
Yeah.
Mouse Utopia or something like that.
Yeah, they give them all guns. Tell them to go fight the rats.
Hey, there is a place in India, I think. It's like, what do they call it? Mouse Temple or something? Let me see if I can find a short little clip of it. I downloaded
Rats, not mice, rats.
Oh, it's rats? Yeah, people go there and they worship the rats and shit like that. They treat them as like a reincarnated holy being. Or like whatever, I don't know, past leaders and people. It's got a
You
very,
remember Witsit brought this up about a year ago about zombies and this and that, and I was saying, what the hell is he talking about? Okay, he meant it another way, right? But here it is, man. Zombies. We got freaking zombies on our streets, man.
Nothing a missile can't solve.
True.
There's the wisdom right there. Yep. Nice unmute. We're going to hear some wisdom now.
Better than hearing a Joe Swanson clone.
What you got anything serious for us, bro?
SE, respect the Americans.
Don't put me on the spot. I can get real serious.
Well,
I mean,
you were
you can
supposed to be
remute
the
this
expert
guy.
on this drug.
If this guy becomes a problem, you could just remute him.
We could talk about.
No, I want to hear what he has to say. If he knows about this drug, lay some info on us. Lay some wisdom on us, bro.
Drug are you talking about?
Ozempic. Or the crocodile
Don't know
one.
much about that.
Crocodile. What is crocodile made of? Someone look it up.
Isn't it eye drops and some other stuff?
It's made from disintegrated croc scales.
Nice.
Makes sense.
Crocodile's made from just cutting it with gasoline. They basically cut drugs with shit like gasoline, and then people inject it, and it rots their meat off their bones.
No, people use steak seasoning like dill, or
doesn't gasoline come from reptiles?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think
go.
about it. Yeah, supposed to anyway. It's bad though in places, certain parts of Africa and stuff, when people, it's just crazy. They find whatever they can find to try to cut shit so they can get more out of, they can sell more, make more money.
SE, you should go to Dubai.
How come?
Probably fall in love with the culture.
Well, they're all wealthy over there, no?
Yeah. Got croc oil money.
Isn't that the country, maybe I'm mistaken, that pays for all their citizens, even their weddings, if you need a house, your education, they'll even is that Dubai or is that the EAU? Sometimes I mix them up. Nobody's left for wanted for anything in the country I'm talking about. They even pay for your wedding if you don't have money.
Yeah, but the caveat is you have to be a Muslim to catch, so.
Well, they are Muslim, yeah.
Yeah, but if they're going to pay for you, you have to be a Muslim.
No, I think you have to be a citizen. I don't think anybody, any one of us could go there or any other Muslim. I think you have to be born in that country, and then you don't want for anything, and I mean anything.
Be cool, man. See, would you sign a missile if you got to choose where it was dropped?
Probably.
You can't help yourself, huh? It's unbelievable.
I mean, for you, that would be a good opportunity.
You're just a troll, man. I mean, hey, look, no problem. I mean, you are who you are.
Essie, what's up with all the reptile themes and everything? What's the takeaway? Nothing?
Can't you troll somebody else?
That was a serious question.
Reptiles won't survive the missiles, but cockroaches will.
This is why you wanted us to unmute him, Blob.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
Like, I mean, I feel smarter by the minute.
I asked you a serious question. You didn't give me an answer.
But you've got a lot of growing room there, Essie, so would hope you do feel a little bit smarter after this combo.
Smarter every day.
I'm trying to get dumber.
Yeah, I don't have to try. I think it just sort of comes natural.
You got it. You got it, Cole. You got that
That's
shit
it.
on
I'm
the
trying to
lock.
lower my IQ so I could have a decent conversation with Witsit. I could understand him a little better.
Roasted.
Is
Yeah, I
Witsit
think
here?
Witsit has more knowledge in his
Yeah, he's here.
pinky than you have in your whole brain, bro.
Weird
disrespect.
glaze, but all right.
I mean, I don't think it's fair to sit here and like bash Witsit's intellect. I mean, he's well studied in a lot of these topics.
No, Witsit's here. Witsit's
And
here.
Yeah, we know.
and-
Yeah, Witsit's not an idiot by no means.
People don't get mad
Yeah.
when you
Hey,
call
here
like
comes
people
the
that are smart.
groupies.
It's not about being a groupie. It's about like being factual.
Defending
Yeah.
another man's honor. Why are you doing that? You don't
I'm
think you
saying,
can
I
defend
think
your own
your
honor?
statement
White
is
knight.
obnoxious, is what I'm trying to point out, and you're not justified in
I think
questioning his
Witsit's
intellect unless you
is
can make
high enough to defend itself and stand on
if
its
you
own.
can
I don't
make
think it
something like a
needs
direct
minions
a
preaching about it.
direct correlation. You just fucking carrying on, man. Like really? I'm just trying to
Go
address
ahead.
what
Tell
you're
me
saying,
about how
and
smart
then you just
Witsit is.
fucking ramble on while I'm talking.
I didn't say he was smart. I said he wasn't stupid.
If you're gonna sit here and question a man's intellect, give just cause. Otherwise, it just sounds like you're bitter about, like you don't
Sounds
like
like
them.
you're
It's
hating.
personal.
Sounds like
Like
you're
if you
hating.
said, "I think
Me and
Witsit is
Witsit
dumb
have
because
a
of X,
strong
Y,
enough
Z," that's a fucking
bond
coherent
where I think
statement
he can
to
take
say,
that hit
"I
and walk
don't like
away
Witsit,
unscathed.
therefore Witsit dumb." That's incoherent.
That is coherent. It's just not a good argument.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you're not going to be taken serious, right? People are just going to like kind of do what I'm doing right now.
It's sort of like when people say blondes are dumb and like no one gets mad. But if you say black people are dumb, everyone gets mad.
I mean, one's a joke, the other one's
I
like
think it's
touchy
funny.
subject.
Yeah, exactly.
I think blonde women are stupid because they didn't have to ever exercise their critical thinking skills and everything was brought to them on a silver platter. Thank you.
That could be
No,
true
it's
too.
because they act stupid because they think that because they're smart and they're told that like, oh, guys like girls who are dumb, so they act dumb. But I mean,
Girls like guys who are dumb.
women are dumb, so in general. So
You know what's weird is like you know what's weird is how they call how Jew. If you say someone's a Jew, like it's a race, it's derogatory. It's all encompassing one word. Which like black people, you got the N word. White people, you got cracker. But when it comes to Jewish people, it's the derogatory word is their race. It's weird.
That's kind of true, bro. But it is
Yep,
kind of
Pol-
derogatory. Being a Jew is like a cursed people.
You got Polacks.
Hey, don't talk shit.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
Polak.
Polacks. You're right. Okay. Well, Polak. Okay, yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah.
I'm a Polak, Pole.
I remember the
Can I
Polak
say
jokes
something?
from back in the day.
Yeah, Polish
Hey,
is usually
I'm
good
a
sport.
hillbilly, so I can talk shit, man. Come on. Listen how I talk.
The Americans, hillbillies were like mostly like German immigrants or something like that. Because the Englishmen were not going to settle the West. It was not worth it for them. They already had enterprise on the East Coast.
Yeah, my family came from somewhere like northern England, somewhere around in there, Wales, and year like 100 some years ago, and they were literally coal miners in England, and that's why they settled in the Appalachians because that's what they knew, and they continued to be miners in America. I know that because somebody done one of them
You
like
guys seriously muted
family
Wish over that?
searches.
That was fucked up.
Who's white knighting now?
Witsit, can you unmute Wish if you're not offended by what he said?
What are you, his lawyer? This is the second time today.
Oh yeah, why were you guys criticizing people about white knighting, but now like I just find that hypocritical. Like, how
Well,
can
if
you
you
criticize
double
white
white,
knighting and then white knight?
if you
If you double
white
white knight,
it
it counts
cancels
as
out.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole white knighting thing is just a tactic people use because they want to be able to critique without being critiqued. It's just a tactic.
Nah, there's white knighting, bro. Come on. There's people who will literally just make noise in the background while you're trying to give your point so it can't be heard.
I think Witsit unmuted him. Wow, that was pretty big of you.
Very patient. Yeah, very patient.
Witsit
didn't mute or unmute anyone. Why do people always make these
Thank you,
assumptions
Witsit.
about Witsit? Witsit like never mutes anyone, bro. He's probably muted like 4 times on the entire 4 years on this server, like 4 or 5 times, and it was only in like extreme egregious scenarios. So I don't know. Like lately, people can just keep saying Witsit's muting. It's like not happening.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
4 or
No one
5
said Witsit
times. I've
muted
seen
anyone.
him
muting.
mute people more than 4 or 5 times, bro. I don't
Maybe he's
believe
not
that.
muting, but he is unmuting me. He's done that multiple times. So thank you,
Yeah.
Witsit.
I did just unmute him, but I barely ever
Nice.
mute people. I only mute people when it's like something like it has to be temporarily reined in because it's just like insane. I try not to ever mute people. I try to do it. I try to just speak and ask them to stop. Usually, just the fact you have the ability to, you're able to rein it in usually without actually having to do it. There are exceptions though.
I think sometimes it'd be good if you maybe in some cases mute a little more when people. Well, not all. I'm not telling you to or whatever, but I'm just saying like sometimes when people come in and just ruin the combo. But I mean, you'll usually be
Are
able
you
to. I mean,
talking about last night?
someone else will usually jump in.
You talking
Yeah,
about
because
last night?
as you see, Joe, even when I don't do it, people like really use that narrative, right? So
It's just a way to attack you, basically, or try to attack your character by just saying that you're the one doing whatever.
yeah. By the way, I mean, Wish was obviously just like trolling when he said like he was gonna have to drop his IQ a little bit to be able to talk to me or whatever. He was joking.
I was being serious.
That's all he does is troll. Let's see if he can have a combo with you now.
It's true.
And for some reason, every time Blob and Wish are in here, it just goes into like this like weird trolling, immature, like shit talking kind of thing. I don't know why you two are doing that because it just happens over and over. And then Wish gets muted because he's usually worse, and then Blob goes on and on about how to unmute Wish, and it's just like
funny because last night there was a Muslim talking and trying to convince people of Islam for 4 hours, and you let that go on, but I'm the troll. You were letting that go on.
Yes, you are the troll.
Jeremy even admitted that you wasted a Friday night on that.
Dude, that
It's
guy
just
wasn't
not-
trolling. He believes in the Quran.
They're
Yeah, but his
subject
beliefs
to
aren't
being
his beliefs aren't
muted.
self-consistent or consistent with Islam.
I think
So
Geo is trolling because he let that go on for so long, knowing it was going nowhere, wasting a Friday night
So
on
your
useless
general
banter.
subject
it's
is
not a
people
waste,
getting
bro.
muted.
I
That's
wouldn't
your
I wouldn't say that
subject.
it's a complete
Jeremy
waste,
said it was a
bro.
waste. Jeremy said we
Yeah, but
wasted a
Jeremy is
Friday
not the
night.
arbiter
That's
of
his point.
truth, bro.
He is. He's one of them.
Yeah,
See,
that was
we
your
get
be-
opinion. I think some people found it interesting. Some people couldn't care less. We did, to be fair, we tried to pretty regularly check the temperature of the room and ask for feedback on what direction people wanted to go. So
Nobody really objected.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
you did.
Jeremy tried to cut
did.
in and stop the convo multiple times.
Yeah, but you do
Go
that to
back,
every
hold the
combo.
tape back.
Maybe you do that to every combo.
Yeah, but this isn't about me though. This is about other people that wanted it to stop.
Maybe you cited you interrupting
Oh,
the
really?
combo
Were
and
you
trying to
hired as
divert
a
it.
lawyer
You always
to
do that.
complain about being
I said
muted and
Jeremy
other
did.
people getting muted?
This is all gay.
It is.
Are you
This
here
guy
to
does
I
be
agree.
muting equity, Wish?
I agree with Witsit.
He does it
This
every
is very
time.
this is big gay. This is big gay, bro.
All
I'm
right,
just
let me
like,
have a conversation with Witsit then.
What's
Gay
the
Billy.
goal here?
We literally can never live stream with this guy Wish without his mic muted. There's never happened. He's never once allowed the room to actually live stream the way we live stream. Every time he does it, he does this and derails the whole conversation. And he wonders why he gets muted. And then Blob asks him to be unmuted to do it again. Are you guys just trying to stop the conversations? Is that your goal?
I don't think anyone else in here is as upset as you are.
Well, do you not get it
yes,
though?
it's
Like, do you
all us.
realize
Oh,
like,
it's just
What's
our
his server?
feelings.
What's his server, bro? You have the right to be
We're
upset.
just so weak for
He has a
complaining
right to be
about
upset
you
if you're
only
just
complaining
interrupt.
about muting. You only complain about muting. It's all that's your subject. Oh, but it's our
Right,
feelings,
Arwijn.
though. Oh, our feelings of pointing
Right,
out how
Arwijn,
the
thank
only
you.
subject you ever bring up is muting.
Okay,
Stop
Arwijn.
wasting our time.
So I will say for some of us, we like to actually try to have like good content that could be later clipped out of here. And it is like kind of annoying for it to just the whole value of the clip gets completely destroyed when someone wants to just strictly troll and completely derail it. Like I can't
mean,
clip it, we can't make content out of it, you can't do anything with it because now it's just all been destroyed.
Wish
And
has
so
only
it is
talked on here a
annoying.
couple times, and he's got more clips on New Perspectives channel than me.
Talk about a waste of time, bro. You want to call the discussion on Islam a waste of time when it actually had edifying components to it? What you're doing right now, Wish, is a waste of time. Don't be hypocritical.
I mean, we weren't really having a conversation like before, so
It was the same one point that was regurgitated for 4 hours, Noah. You were there.
we were talking about
Oh, thank
crocodile
God
and
you
Ozempic.
guys came in to start
Hey.
complaining about muting.
There was
Oh,
multiple
that's such a
points
better
brought up.
Oh, that's
subject.
no,
Oh, God.
you're complaining about it.
Thank God
There were
you're complaining
multiple
about
points
us.
brought up, bro. You
We were
just weren't
talking about
listening.
It's
Ozempic,
still
right?
going on, guys. You got to stop. This is so lame to listen to. By
Witsit.
the way, like the issue with the conversation last night, ironically, all the interruptions and like the sideline comments and stuff made it like 10 times worse and made it last way longer. Because what happens, like if someone's in a debate and their point is getting dismantled, basically they view any of these additional comments as a life jacket and they hone in on whatever the other person said as a way to deflect away from that point of the conversation that they were going to have to concede. So ironically, it's actually what drags it on, I mean, and like, for
Question,
example,
Witsit.
I point out that Christians do that too much in here as well, right? Like they feel like they want to defend the other Christian because they're being attacked. But ironically, right, it makes it take way longer. It gives that person kind of an out. And also, no one really
So,
wants to hear like prolonged meta conversations about, stuff like this anyway.
so no more white knighting.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Wish,
we're
it
done
may
with
not
that.
it may not be your cup of tea, but we do discuss spirituality and religion on the server. So it may not be your choice of what you want to talk about, but just to constantly just be disrupting and telling everybody, and then you're trying to blame me for allowing the conversation, which is one of the topics we do discuss, is absurd. So now you're trolling me for hosting the server the right way it's supposed to be hosted. Do you see how just absolutely just derailing and distracting, and why people
Completely
think that you're
disingenuous to say that I'm trolling because I have that
Oh
opinion.
yes. Oh, see,
See, and then you just turn it around
we
and do
just-
some weird
we just
narcissist.
go to
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave you on mute.
maybe he had some more
Yeah.
comments about our feelings and how we're just not mature
Okay, enough,
to
bro.
endure his
Enough.
complaining
Arwyn,
about
you're the
muting.
one doing it.
Enough, Arwyn, dude.
Does anyone disagree? Like, we basically have to mute Blob and Wish to move forward. Otherwise, we cannot move forward. Watch, I'll
Here,
unmute
here.
Wish. We'll just keep doing this. Is this what you guys want to do?
I was
Yeah,
trying to
muted and
segue
keep
into an
Wish on
actual
mute.
conversation. That would have been nice, but you guys just keep.
What's the
Bye.
convo topic? What are you
Bye,
segueing to?
Mr. Complaining
Hey, so
Pants.
Tell us the
doing today?
before this,
topic
right?
You
right
have
now.
no subject.
The
Before
guy said
this,
he has
we
a
were talking
topic. What's the
about
topic?
Ozempic. Yeah, there isn't one. We were talking
That's
about
the topic?
Ozempic.
You're shifting it to Ozempic?
No.
Wish just said he
We
was
were
going to shift the
dude.
topic. What are you going to shift it to?
Dude, no, you're
I'm
not
just
letting anyone
bringing
say
up
anything,
what-
bro.
Yeah, we just talked about Ozempic, right? And I explained how it comes from a lizard, and then I broke down what it actually does, and I ended the topic. So there wasn't a topic, and yeah,
was going to
we're just
So
in
that
limbo.
doesn't.
You
So
didn't.
that,
No, hold on. You said
That doesn't-
unmute Wish because he knows about the topic. So
About
Yeah,
Wish was
crocodiles.
unmuted.
exactly.
Hold
That's
on,
my
I'm not
point,
finished.
bro.
It's still
Yeah,
going
and-
on. Hey, talk about a topic, not each other.
Why don't
First
you
one to
just
talk
let
about
somebody
someone else
fin-
is gay. How about that?
Ironically, it is the people that were complaining about that keep breathing life into it. So, I mean, Gio made the point that it seemed like it was going to get derailed, not go anywhere, and that, like, let's see. And then, you guys are kind of trying to manifest it. I don't know what you guys want to talk about, though. I know that I'm supposed to play poker here in like an hour or so I don't have like an hour. But personally, though, I think that some of the conversation last night was actually interesting, right? I mean, we live in a world where there's like a handful of religions and they're dominated by Abrahamic religions, right? I mean, you have just between Islam and Catholicism, you have billions of people. That's according to the mainstream claim about the population. I don't know if you guys believe that. I'm pretty skeptical of it, but so anyway, it's like it's noteworthy, right? I mean, it's just a general assessment of like modern times, kind of where these things came from, how they came to be, how they became so cemented in today's society. What are the implications? What are the intentions? What are they guiding people to do? What are their future plans, stuff like that, right? I mean, it's relevant. I made this point yesterday where someone's like, "Oh man, we're just going to let the Muslim keep talking." Oh my gosh, it's like you realize that Islam is being utilized to basically expedite the collapse of the West. So if
Facts.
you're going to want to articulate any type of valid critique or opposition to that, you need to be aware of what it is. You need to be able to show the actual flaws in it, right? The ulterior motives, kind of like where it came from, et cetera, what their intentions are. You can't really do that. It's like, for me, like, flat earthers are, just as an example, flat earthers are not compelling at all when they cannot still man the heliocentric globe model. Couldn't care less what they have to say because they can't even still man. Same thing with the globers that want to come tell us about how, geocentrism or flat earth is wrong. They can't actually still man their own position. They can't properly represent the current model or the critique of it. So it's like their opinions are relevant. This is the same for some like Christians saying that Islam is wrong. It's like, well, if everything you're saying about Islam is some straw man, then like your position is totally invalid. Your conclusion may be correct, but the way that you've come to it is totally invalid. You know what I mean? So I think people should really think about that in general with all of these topics, whether it's health, religion, cosmology. You should be able to sufficiently stillman the other side. And a stillman is the strongest possible argument for that side, the strongest form of that argument.
I have a
So-
question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that want to just sit here and pick your brain all day to try to like find out knowledge. I just want to know, how are you doing?
That's just another
You good?
derail,
Are
bro.
you
He
okay?
just made a point.
Wow.
Do you know how to live stream? Have you ever done it
Oh
before?
my god.
Because all you've done here is derail and
I'm
troll.
not media trained.
But we're just gonna have. I'm just letting you know you'll be removed if you're constantly doing this. Do you have an actual response on the topic, or don't open your mic? He just laid out a topic. I'm sure other people actually want to respond to it.
Sorry for being a human, Gio.
You don't have to be sorry. Just don't talk
mute
about
him,
people.
Gio. Mute his ass, and that's
Yeah,
it.
you got to be able to.
Wait, what's the topic here? Is the
You got to
topic
be
like
able.
what's
You
it
got
thinks
to be
about
able
things
to
or what?
steel man. You got to be able to steel man the other side, or you're dead to me.
You gotta
that
be
was the
able to.
topic.
You gotta be able to steal Man while it's steal Jeremy's car in Apocalypse.
No, seriously, you got to be able to steel
That's
man the
not
other
a
side.
That's not a derail, Gio.
Yeah, it was.
What's
Yeah,
he,
but I mean,
what's he
do you
just
what do
made
you?
a he just made a comment
I'm
about steel manning. I was just commenting on that. What do you mean?
well, he was talking about Noah's comment. I mean, I'm curious what you guys think of that, right? Because I run into this a lot. One thing that happens also is during specific conversations, anytime someone's asked to stillman the other person's position, I mean, like in this room generally, there's like a 95% failure rate. And even
Oh
when
my
they
god,
do
at least.
somewhat accurately represent their argument, they're definitely not still manning it. You know what I mean? What do you guys think? It's
It's
like,
probably an 80% at least fail rate. Yeah, I hear you. When it
yeah, it's
comes to
bad, bro. It's
steel man
bad.
the other guy right now. No, like they can almost never do it. Sometimes
We
they
have a
can though.
topic.
It might be like 70-30.
What is the topic?
Steelman's apparently.
Bro, you gotta just you gotta mute. Like, bro,
I
we're
can
live
post
streaming
a,
right
Steelman
now,
the
dude.
topic on Steelman's.
I have
Steelman
a
is
picture.
Steelman.
I have a picture for a good topic that I can post in the live stream text.
Oh God. What is it
But
gonna
I'm
be? A
just gonna
picture of
say,
eggshells?
Witsit.
I do think it's important, bro, that for one, people even know what that is. I do think it's important, bro, that for one, people even know what that is. Like normally when I even ask someone to define stillman, they can't do it. So, I mean, you guys can act like this is an irrelevant topic. It's probably the most important because like the inability
I'm
to
with
do
you. This
that,
is huge. No, this is
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, not even just in this room, but just in the world in general, right? So, like, a stillman argument is where you present the strongest possible version, the most convincing form of your opponent's position. So, like, you go above and beyond what even they have said, right? And I do this a lot. It's actually advantageous in debates. If you jump ahead and go ahead and say, look, by the way, not only are you wrong about this, and then there's this, and this rebuttal. Here are your strongest rebuttals that you can say. So here's the strongest form of your argument because I've actually already researched your position and I found the strongest position that you can present. Here it is. If you think I'm wrong and there's a stronger position, then please articulate it, right? But typically what happens is they're not even aware of the strongest form of their argument. So it expedites the conversation. It's like, okay, here's the strongest form of that side. Now here's what's wrong with that. And people should be able to do that, right? Because really you're just kind of chanting otherwise. When you claim to be right, it's completely baseless. Right. So people, and okay, the point I guess I'm trying to make here is I think people should be much more attentive, right? Because what's happening is when you ask them to stillman, the reason they can't is because they're not actually listening.
They're waiting to
Right? They're
talk.
just waiting to talk. Exactly.
They're waiting to talk. They're
So what
waiting
is
for you to stop
the
talking so they can talk.
so what is the current topic to Steelman?
Well, I was
Should we
making a meta
Steelman?
point.
Dude,
I was
come
just
on,
making a
man.
meta point.
It was a
Do you
question
have
like
anything
why
to add to it? Or do you just want to
I
ask
would if we could get a
questions about
topic
the
to actually
conversation
Steelman.
again?
Arwen's
You got
doing
anything
exactly
to
what
add?
Wish was muted for.
Arwijn, you don't have anything to add.
But I'll bring up a topic, but I'm not gonna be able to be here and stay as long as this topic probably deserves. But one thing I do find super interesting and I'm kind of looking into is
What?
the Shroud of Turin. And so like I can go to these notes I have here, but it's actually very fascinating. And then like if you look into it, some of these supposed debunks of the Shroud of Turin, for example, they tried to carbon date and prove the dating was wrong and it was a fraud. And what they did was they took the little corner that had been replaced because of a fire. So part of it got damaged in a fire and it was patched up. They took that little patched up portion and then tried to date it. How deceptive is that?
Yeah, I saw that too. It's a,
Yeah, to
I also
discredit
like
it.
the Shroud of current Turin. It interests me a lot too.
Dude, it's fascinating, bro. And then, so they deceptively tried to date the little portion that was added later, and then even then they had like a huge range of dates. It like totally showed the flaw with carbon dating. They had like thousands of years of separation in both directions. So it's like multiple issues with how they tried to debunk the Shroud of Turin. But don't you guys find like if I know a lot of people typically anything to do with the Bible, like they have a huge bias against it. But if we just kind of keep like the same, if we're just consistent as truthers, like how we always handle information, right? When there's like some mainstream effort to discredit something, and the way they do that is by omitting facts and deceptively portraying information and propaganda to discredit it. As truthers, we always hone in on it and we're like, wait, what are you trying to hide? Right? We should just keep that same standard with everything. That's like, obviously, that should be a red flag, right? Make us think, wait, just like the little Wikipedia box at the bottom of certain YouTube videos, right? It's like, wait a minute, what are you trying to hide here? And so the Shroud of Turin's like this it, all throughout the last few decades. It's like very crazy. So you have like this, it's like 14-foot long linen cloth, and then the image of like the man that appears to be like um kind of etched into it is around, it's like between 5'7" and 6'2", I think. So it's like around 6 foot to 6'2", the guy. And it shows like something that looked like well, so it looks like a guy that's been beaten, and like he's wearing like he was wearing a crown with thorns, and he has slits in the wrists and the feet, like piercings, and then the stains kind of correspond to blood flowing from those wounds. So obviously, that's why people think that's way too specific and good to be true. This must be fraudulent, right? People kind of, innately just or instinctively just throw it in the basket as like the Josephus writings, right? Where people invoke the writings of Josephus as an extra biblical corroborative text that showed that Jesus was real, like the historicity of Jesus. But what happened is some Christian got their hands on the writings of Josephus a little afterwards, and they added a part that basically said like that he was the son of God or that he was God or whatever, right? And that wasn't in the original writings. You can tell because of the writing style is different and all these different things, right? It's clearly like a pseudepigraphic forgery. Um, but if you take that out, there is still historical corroborative evidence of Jesus, quote unquote, in the writings of Josephus. So my point is either A, the Christian's super short sighted, and ironically, what he did was discredit what is one of the strongest historical pieces of evidence for him existing, or B, it wasn't a real Christian. They did that intentionally to discredit it, right? But anyway, my point is when people, because like in that scenario, that would have been correct. If you're instinctively like, okay, wait, this is too good to be true. This doesn't even make sense. Like a Jew that doesn't believe that he's the Messiah is saying he's God right here. Like this makes no sense, right? That's kind of what people think when they hear about the Shroud of Turin. Like you tell them, like there's a cloth that was found in what appears to be like a burial ground, and it's got like a 6 foot man image of a 6 foot man etched into it, and he had a crown of thorns and has slits like piercings in the wrists and the feet, piercings in the side, specifically piercings in the side, and like as though he was crucified through the wrists and feet, and then there's blood stains corresponding to those wounds. Like, okay,
Right.
that if
It's got
that's
a
real,
negative
Well,
to
that's
it.
I got a
insane.
question about that, if I may. Like, doesn't cloth actually degenerate severely over like thousands of years? I mean, how is that shroud even still left? I mean, did they store it in a vacuum chamber for over 1,000 years for it to still not just fall apart to dust? Right? I mean, that part I don't get. Like, how can a cloth that supposedly was there 2,000 years ago on him, how is that supposed to survive all that time? It doesn't make any damn sense.
It does if you think that it may be Jesus's image on it.
Well, for one, linen does survive a long time.
Without disintegrating at all?
Well, it shows some signs of wear and tear, but yeah, like ancient linen has been discovered all over the place. Linen is extremely durable. Like we have Egyptian linen wrappings that are accepted to be like over 4,000 years old, right? Found in like for example, King Tut's tomb has linen wrappings.
Right, but that's like enclosed tombs, right? That's enclosed coffin, so it gets isolated from constant oxygen flow, which kind of stops the degeneration, right? And that makes sense. But I mean, this cloth, did they find it in like a closed off gravesite? Like, and what is it doing there? Like, unless that's the case, like, it just doesn't make any sense if they just found cloth out in the open. Like, I don't see how that could have survived the weather, the air for thousands of years. That makes no sense. But I don't know, how did they even claim to have found it?
Well, I don't know. That's where it gets tricky, right? Like it's like uh first like historical documentation is in like medieval Europe, right? And it was considered like sacred. And so people claim like, oh
Oh,
well
yeah.
that like church faked it. Um and so like I don't know, it's a good question, right? Obviously if it actually was on the Messiah, right, then it would have been in the tomb. And then, you know, maybe one would have taken it and then preserved it, right? Intentionally try
Well,
to preserve it and pass it down.
if it was in medieval times, supposedly, then to me it would make more sense because that's not too far off Jesus' death. Because I don't think that like medieval times is actually like Jesus was there. I think that it's historically kind of stretched up and there's an extra 1,000 years in between. I think that the real Jesus is basically a little over 1,000 years ago, not 2,000. So if it was in medieval times, that would actually make sense because that would have been right after him, and the cloth would still be, would be able to endure that amount of time. So that makes sense.
Well, and then the story is though that like it was like there was like immense effort to preserve it, and it occasionally suffered damage and was repaired, and they put tons of effort into protecting it for a long time, right? And so yeah, the preservation itself wouldn't like prove its dating or antiquity or anything like that. But it also doesn't exclude it as being that old. Right.
It
Like
creates.
again, linen is incredibly durable.
It's weird. It creates a photographic negative. They can't, like, photos and paintings and other stuff don't, but that cloth does. That's how they first discovered what all the true details of the image is when somebody first discovered the photographic negative that it generates.
Yeah,
But
they
is
say
that a
it's
repeatable
more of
thing
a
though?
they say it's more of a 2D image, right? This is the kicker. It's like a 2D image, right? More so than how a 3D image would take, but they're also saying it's like the way it was imprinted, right? There's like typically like it wasn't forced on, right? It's all random strokes and all this other shit, that the metrics that they use to distinguish what's what. And they also say it's like more likened to a burst of energy that caused the imprint in the first place.
Okay.
Like high intensity light, which is pretty fucking I mean, just thinking like just throwing the light in there is like, oh, no shit.
Well, maybe Jesus was radiating light as he resurrected or something.
Well,
I
that's the
don't
whole
know.
idea is that he like instantly was transformed and like radiated a huge burst of light and like instantly like came right off of um the cloth, right? And like was resurrected. So that's why you have this like it's like this super shallow etched in basically outline of him, basically creating like an image. And when they photographed it, like in the late 1800s, they used like they went to go develop like the glass plate negative, but the negative looked like a positive photographic image, right? So it's like wild. It's like baffling.
And that's when all the details jumped out to them. They didn't realize all the details on it until they discovered that, and that's when things like the injuries through the palms, the injuries around his forehead, all that stuff really pops out when you see the photographic negative of it.
Yeah, so like you take so like basically the brightness levels are inverted to a normal photograph. And so when you invert it, it gives you this like super realistic, like black and white photo of a human body. So basically the shroud is like functioning like a like negative film. That's insane, bro. Like in it's like as if it was like a supernaturally formed like photographic plate, the cloth
Yeah.
itself.
It just seems a little convenient.
Well, this is yeah, but that's not an argument. Like, yeah, I agree, but so no one's been able to reproduce it, and they tried. And the team of people that tried, it wasn't like a bunch of Christians or something, right? It was the opposite. It's a bunch of like atheists that were trying to debunk it, and they can't replicate it. Certainly not with medieval or like medieval tools. They can't even do it with like modern like practices and methods.
Yeah,
Well,
they go
they
all
had-
they go all the way into like looking at the paint on the fibers and everything, and it's not paint. You know what I mean? They don't even know how the image was put on the cloth because it's not painted on. It doesn't seem to be burned on. It's just really super strange.
The
Yeah, they had
question is,
NASA's.
even if it's
Yep.
real, how
Have
can
they
you?
done spectral analysis on
That's
what?
it. You didn't hear me talk, right, Arwyn, or before, or the guy didn't hear me. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Your opinion is more important.
Oh, easy. Okay, I was just saying, did anybody do any spectral analysis on some of that substance to see like what they think actually happened to it? What is
No, they have no
chemically
answer.
different?
They have no answer other than it's like it looks like a high intensity burst of some form of light.
No, but I
That's
have
the
a
whole
list
But
of.
thing.
how would they come to that
I have
conclusion
I have a list of
unless
this.
they
Okay,
knew
when
how to do that?
the answer was yes. So the fact the guy said no doesn't matter. I said yes. So why would you intentionally ignore I said yes and go on about it being no? That's just weird. Okay, I'm happy to tell you what all has been done. I have a list here of the different spectral analysis they did: reflectance and transmission spectroscopy. Okay, and so that was in 1978. Visible and near infrared. They did ultraviolet and visible fluorescence spectroscopy also in 1978, right? I believe different people. You have the STURP team, John Jackson, Eric Jumper, Ray Rogers. They did the reflectance and transmission spectroscopy. And then you have the STURP ultraviolet photography with Vern Miller and Don Lynn. So later following up in the same year. You have infrared and Fourier transmission infrared spectroscopy and later in the 2000s that was done. You have Raman spectroscopy, so micro Raman and surface enhanced Raman, Italian groups in the 90s and in the 2000s. You have X-ray fluorescence and energy dispersive X-ray, again by the STRP in 1978. That was before the 79 test. You have UV, VIS, IR microspectroscopy on
Okay.
single fibers.
All of it.
Well, then you
Yeah,
have
but he
laser
asked.
induced fluorescence photoluminescence. Well, the point is
He
that
asked
they've
a
done
specific
almost
question,
every
man.
he asked if spectral analysis had been done.
Yeah, and then he said, "Do they know what caused it?" And that's what I said no to.
Yeah, did anybody try to like, hey, let's take a piece of cloth, another one that's of a similar
No, if they knew what
similar
caused it,
type,
they could
and then just
replicate it.
try to repeat the effect?
Right, they
Yes,
can't
bro.
repeat the effect. They can't reproduce what they're seeing on the cloth of Turin. That's like the
That's
whole. Witsit already mentioned that.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So I'm trying to let you know that obviously, for one, you should know I wouldn't be bringing this up if I could easily debunk it with questions like, did they not even study it? They didn't only study it. They did every conceivable type of study. They did every spectroscopy analysis they could think of. They did single fibers. They holistically tested the cloth. They attempted to replicate it in multiple ways, including extremely advanced technology that we have to manipulate like energy output and light, right? Different x-rays and stuff like that to replicate it on similar clothing. They haven't been able to replicate it, right? So, I mean, that's pretty wild. And again, this isn't just like a bunch of Christians claiming it can't be replicated. It's like hostile witnesses. It's atheists that are trying to debunk it and prove it's a fraud. And again, then they're doing stuff like deceptively claiming to date it by pulling out the little corner that was fixed during a fire, you know. I don't believe it's a coincidence that they accidentally chose to date the small little portion of it that was fixed later on. That was
Well,
an attempt to discredit it.
they've dated multiple parts of it, like as far as like where we're at now. But yeah, originally they did take like a patchwork, but they've never tied it back to, the times of Jesus that I'm aware of. But they have no idea in explaining how the image got burnt into this cloth or put on this cloth. That's the big thing. And then the patterns it draws, right? The depth of penetration into the linen. That's the part where like they're just so dumbfounded. Like it says here, like the NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory is something about VP8 image analyzer. It's showing that like the relationship between pixel brightness and the 3D shape. It's like remarkable because like the paintings and the photographs, like they don't have that. Like they don't share. There's no common relationship between the two.
Yeah, even if it was a forgery, they dated it back to at least the 1400s, which means it was an amazing forgery for that time period. But I don't think it was a forgery
Right.
myself.
And they can't even replicate it today. Like,
Yeah.
so
Right.
basically, there's
How would you
no
forge it, right?
they can't replicate it because it would require like a super intense, like instant burst of radiant energy. And there's nothing that we have even now, like no technology that we have where we can do that, capable of doing that on linen without destroying it. Right? Like